The antique shop stood alone, a solitary sentinel at the edge of the world. Its wooden frame creaked with age, and its windows, clouded with dust, seemed to hold secrets of a bygone era. It perched at the edge of the woods, where the trees whispered ancient tales. The town surrounding it was quiet, almost eerily so. Forgotten by time, it seemed to exist in a different realm where the past and present blurred. The shop was filled with relics, each one a fragment of history. Shelves groaned under the weight of forgotten treasures, and the air was thick with the scent of old wood and memories. Each item whispered forgotten stories, tales of love and loss, of joy and sorrow. The relics seemed to hum with a life of their own, as if waiting for someone to listen. Dust motes danced in the sunlight that streamed through the cracked windows, creating a mesmerizing ballet of light and shadow. It was as if the very air was alive, telling its own story. The air was heavy with the past, thick with the weight of countless memories. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, where the present was but a fleeting visitor. It was a place of echoes, where every footstep seemed to reverberate through the ages. Clara wandered in, her curiosity piqued by the shop's mysterious aura. She was new to town, a stranger in a place that felt like it had been forgotten by the world. Lost and searching, she hoped to find something that would anchor her to this new reality. Her eyes scanned the jumbled wares, each item a potential key to the past. She felt a presence, an inexplicable sensation that she was not alone. Something watched her from the shadows, an unseen observer that seemed to blend with the darkness. It was as if the shop itself was alive, aware of her every move, waiting to reveal its secrets. Her gaze fell upon it, a mirror, tall and ornate. Its silver was tarnished. Time had worn it well. It drew her in. Its depth seemed to call. She felt a strange pull, a need to possess it.
"That's a curious piece. Be careful."
His voice was like dry leaves. His eyes held a warning. Clara didn't heed it. The mirror already had her. It was more than an object. It was a promise. The shopkeeper told its tale. A noble woman, reclusive and vain. She owned the mirror centuries ago, obsessed with her reflection, lost in its depths. Then one day she vanished, gone without a trace.
"Some say she's still there, trapped within the glass. Her vanity, her prison."
The shopkeeper's words were laced with fear. Clara dismissed them as superstition. She felt only excitement. That night, Clara hung the mirror in her bedroom. The moonlight bathed it in an ethereal glow. She stood before it, admiring her reflection, but something was wrong. The reflection wasn't her. The face was different, pale and gaunt, eyes hollow and sad, a woman in a flowing gown. She reached out from the mirror, long, slender fingers tipped with shadow. Clara stumbled back in fear. This was no trick of the light. Section 5. Stepping through the glass. The figure stepped out from the mirror into Clara's room.
She moved with an eerie grace. Her touch sent chills down Clara's spine.
"Don't be afraid," the figure whispered. Her voice was a mournful sigh. "Let me show you."
The figure held out her hand, an invitation. Clara was paralyzed. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. She could only watch as the figure touched the mirror. It rippled like water. Section 6, a new reality. The figure stepped back. She gestured towards the mirror.
"Go on," she whispered. "It's your turn now."
Clara felt a pull. The mirror beckoned. It promised escape from her loneliness, from her fear.
She reached out, touched the glass. It was cold, and then she was falling, through a swirling vortex of shadows and light. When she landed, she was no longer in her room. She was somewhere else.
Section 7, gone but not forgotten. The next morning, her neighbors found her door ajar. Clara was gone, vanished. The room was empty except for the mirror. It stood there, silent and cold, reflecting nothing, as if it had never seen her.
The shopkeeper heard the whispers. He knew what happened. He always knew.
The mirror had claimed another soul. He shuddered. Some secrets are best left buried.
He locked the shop and walked away. Section 8, a new home, a new owner. This is a tale of transformation, of new beginnings, and of the mysteries that lie hidden in plain sight. The antique shop remained closed. Weeks turned into months. The once bustling store, filled with the whispers of history, now stood silent and forgotten. Dust gathered on the sign. The letters, once vibrant, now barely visible under the layers of neglect. It was as if time itself had decided to stand still. Then, one day, it reopened. The creak of the door echoed through the empty street, signaling a new chapter for the old shop. A new owner. He was eager. His eyes sparkled with dreams and ambitions. He saw potential where others saw decay, and oblivious to the shop's dark history. The stories of the past, the secrets whispered among the antiques, were unknown to him. He dusted off the relics, arranged them with care. Each item, a piece of history, a story waiting to be told. Among them, the mirror, an antique so old it seemed to hold the weight of centuries. He polished its tarnished frame. The intricate designs began to shine, revealing the craftsmanship of a bygone era. He marveled at its beauty, unaware of the shadows it concealed. He hung it in the window, a beacon to passers-by, its reflective surface catching the light, drawing in curious onlookers, unaware of the gaze that met his from within its depths. The mirror, a silent observer, held secrets of its own, secrets that would soon intertwine with the new owner's fate. The mirror's intricate designs told a story of their own, each curve and line a testament to the hands that crafted it. But beneath the beauty, there was an unsettling presence. As days turned into weeks, the shop began to thrive. Customers came and went, each drawn to the unique charm of the antiques. The new owner, with his infectious enthusiasm, breathed life back into the old store. But at night, when the shop was empty and the streets were silent, the mirror seemed to come alive. Its surface shimmered with an otherworldly glow, as if it were a portal to another realm. Shadows danced in the dim light, and faint whispers echoed through the shop. The new owner, though unaware, was not alone. The mirror watched, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. One evening, as the owner was closing up, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the mirror, but something was off. The reflection seemed distorted, almost as if it were a different person staring back at him. He shook off the unease, attributing it to his tired mind, but the feeling lingered, a nagging sense that something was not quite right. Intrigued, he decided to research the mirror's history. He delved into old books and documents, uncovering tales of its previous owners and the mysterious events that surrounded it. The more he learned, the more he realized that the mirror was no ordinary antique. It had a dark past, filled with stories of misfortune and tragedy. Determined to uncover the truth, he continued his research, unaware of the dangers that lay ahead. The mirror with its hidden secrets was about to change his life forever. The mirror's gaze remained fixed on him, its depths holding the key to a mystery that had spanned generations. And as the new owner stood before it, he couldn't shake the feeling that his fate was now intertwined with the ancient relic. Action 9, the cycle continues. A young woman stopped outside the shop, drawn by the gleam of the mirror. She stepped inside, her eyes wide with wonder. She had never seen anything like it, so beautiful, so alluring.
That's a fine piece, a real treasure.
He saw the desire in her eyes. He didn't warn her. He didn't know. The mirror had already chosen its next victim. Trapped within, the mirror reflected her image, but it wasn't her, not anymore. It was the woman in the flowing gown. Her eyes held a knowing sadness. She reached out, a silent plea, or was it a threat? The young woman didn't hesitate. She touched the glass. It was cold, and then she was gone, pulled into the mirror's embrace, trapped within its depths, another soul claimed by its beauty. Section 11, the mirror's gaze. The mirror hung there, silent and watchful. Its surface was smooth, undisturbed. It had been there for centuries, witnessing the passage of time, absorbing the essence of those who dared to look into its depths. The room around it was filled with an eerie stillness, as if time itself had stopped in reverence to the mirror's presence. There was no trace of the young woman. She had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a whisper of her existence. The mirror's surface, once clear and reflective, now seemed to hold a shadow of her essence, a faint echo of her presence that lingered just beyond the reach of reality. No sign of the countless others it had claimed. Each soul that had been drawn into its depths had left behind a piece of themselves, a fragment of their being that was now forever trapped within the mirror's confines. The handprints on its surface were a testament to their futile struggles, a silent reminder of the mirror's insatiable hunger. It was a portal, a prison, a gateway to another realm where the rules of our world no longer applied. Those who gazed into it were drawn into a labyrinth of their own desires and fears, a place where reality and illusion intertwined in a dance of shadows and light. The mirror's glow was both inviting and menacing, a beacon that lured its victims into its grasp, a reflection of our deepest desires. The cycle continues. The mirror waits, patient and hungry, for its next victim. It feeds on the longing and desperation of those who seek something beyond the mundane, offering them a glimpse of their heart's deepest wishes, only to ensnare them in its web of illusions. The room around it seemed to pulse with a life of its own, a silent witness to the mirror's dark magic, for the next soul to lose itself in its gaze. The mirror's power was irresistible, drawing in those who were lost, lonely, or seeking something more. Its surface reflected not just their physical form, but the very essence of their being, revealing truths they had long buried and desires they had never dared to acknowledge. The eyes that stared back from the mirror were not just their own, but a window into their soul, for the next reflection to be claimed forever. The mirror's gaze was eternal, a never-ending cycle of entrapment and despair, each new victim added to its power, their essence becoming a part of the mirror's own. And so it waited, silent and watchful, for the next soul to succumb to its allure, to be drawn into its depths and lost forever in the mirror's gaze.